Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Oh, I am enjoying this scene.
A few moments later.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Sports Church right here on Barracks Party Media. I'm your host, Friar Mini, a.k.a. John Curry. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. 2311 was my MOS. I'm a car carrying member of the E4 Mafia, allegedly, and a founding member of Barracks Party Media. All right, a lot to unpack and a short time to do so. So first up, first on, we're going to bring him on. He's been my friend for far too long. But he's a good man. He's a United States Marine Corps veteran as well. He's our gambling and MMA contributor and expert. Without further ado, please welcome to the altar of competition, known as Sport Church, the brother Bishop Poop Dog.
Oh. That's right, Minnie. I'm the Bishop Brother Poop Dog, and we will bringing you sports knowledge, nothing but the truth.
Yikes. How you doing, brother?
Minnie. I'm excellent, my man. I'm excellent, my man. We had a lot happening in the world of professional fighting, MMA, boxing, and what have you in the last 48 hours, whatever you want to say. We had fights in Riyadh. We had fights in Abu Dhabi. We had Olympic controversy. We will unpack all that during my segment.
All right, sounds good. All right, without further ado, next up, the altar of competition known as Sport Church. We're going to bring on Pops. We call him Pops because he's my Pops. He's been in the auto racing business for 50 years. So, you know, he's got that pretty much locked down. And I'm sure he's got a bunch of interesting stuff to say on the stage of racing. Without further ado, here comes Reverend Pops.
I can still hear the stained glass windows shattering at all the churches around the world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's all right. It's all good.
Got not much action in the world of racing because F1's off, NASCAR's off, IndyCar's off. So we're just going to talk about what's happening in the world of F1. So
sounds good. All right, Pook, man. I mean, you know, might as well get right to it.
Did you get my slides?
Oh, shit. I got some of them.
Slide. All right, check it out, man. Just so we know what we're talking about, just so the viewers know what we're talking about. Scroll all the way up to the first slide I sent you right after you sent me the StreamYard link, which would be Terrence Crawford versus – it's just a slide. Terrence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov. Israel Madrimov.
Hold on.
I'm just terrible at these foreign names. Madrimov.
Yeah, you think you know, I don't know, figure that out ahead of time.
Yeah, you think – well, I don't know, man.
That's weird.
I said it a Madrimov.
All right.
It's not very hard. I don't know. When you're reading off a paper, though, I choke sometimes. Madrimov.
Which one am I looking for?
The boxing fight, man. The only boxing photo you got. You got a little slide of a boxing fight.
Okay, gotcha. All right,
right there. Just so the folks at home or on the interweb know what we're talking about.
A second here. There we go. Okay. On the way. There it is.
So Terrence Crawford, kind of a big deal. Multiple belt champion in boxing, took on Israel Madrimov in Riyadh, and this is a fight put together by those sheikhs over there because This was This is a contender versus a champion. Madrimov actually knocked down Crawford during this fight, ended a decision. Everyone said this fight was like a war. It was a war. It was a war of a fight. I saw the highlights, did not watch the whole fight, but we can't have a sports show without mentioning this about combat fighting. This is a big deal.
In this fight?
What's that?
Who's who in this fight?
Okay,
who's in green or whatever?
Okay, Madrimov has the white gloves.
Okay,
and Bud Crawford is the darker gentleman with the red. With the green. I'm colorblind, my man.
It looked like Madrimov was now punching himself in the nose.
Well, it was a war. I mean, I didn't want to. There's a lot of pictures I could have picked from, but this one you could kind of see both of their faces, and you can get an idea how the fight went a little bit. I mean, it was a dog fight from what everyone said, and from what I've seen in the highlights as well. I did not watch the whole fight, full disclosure, but I mean, here we can't have legitimate sports show on fighting without talking about this huge fight that happened in Riyadh yesterday. It's put on by Sheikhs again. These guys put on a hell of a, opulence is the word, for their promotions. Yeah. So it was a big deal yesterday. It happened, and I'm just reporting on it, And
who won then?
Oh, well, Crawford won. Crawford won the decision.
All right.
Crawford won the decision. Like I said, Crawford was actually, like I said, though, Crawford was actually knocked down during this fight. He actually, Israel actually scored a knockdown during this fight. So it was a war. It was a battle. I mean, and when I went through the slides to pick out which slide I wanted to pick, there was a lot of one-sided action, either one way or the other. Either Israel getting the best of Bud or Bud getting the best of Israel. So this is kind of a neutral photo. That's why I picked it. You could see both fighters' faces. Yeah, it kind of does look like he's punching himself in the face with his own gloves, but I think he's just trying to cover up to avoid getting cracked by Bud there in that photo. Yeah. So we got moving on, my friends.
Yes.
Moving on. I don't have a slide of this, but get the slide ready for the next one. It's going to be the rear naked choke, my man. The very next one after this. Davison Figueiredo took on Marlon Vera last night in the UFC in Abu Dhabi last night. UFC had an event in Abu Dhabi. All the stuff happening, yesterday afternoon, all the stuff happening overseas. They must be huge fight fans over there in the Mideast, obviously, with Sheikhs wanting to bring their Sheikhs bringing in these promotions and everything. So they had this. This is in Abu Dhabi. The other fight was in Riyadh. The boxing fight being in Riyadh, the UFC fight being in Abu Dhabi. So Davison Figueiredo took on Marlon Vera. These guys were two guys that used to be a real big deal in the UFC and maybe still could be. Davison Figueiredo won a unanimous decision in that fight. Worth mentioning because Shara Magomedov, next fight. Shara Magomedov is 14-0. He fought last night. He fought Michael Oleksiejczuk. He fought Michael Oleksiejczuk to a unanimous decision. It was pretty dominant fight. I don't have a slide of that. But if you remember, we've had slides of him before. He's like the Arab guy with the giant red beard. Kind of looks like a leprechaun. I think you've seen him before. He's 14-0. He's 14-0, up and coming. Now, this moves on to Tony Ferguson talk. Tony Ferguson got rear naked choke last night.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, it does suck, but it was predictable. He fought Michael Chiesa.
Fight video was fucking hilarious, by the way. Did you see it?
No, I don't think I thought I missed it. I think I missed it. The hype video before the fight? I definitely missed it.
Yeah, it was I think T sent it to us. It was up in the Upper Peninsula for some reason, which is, don't get me started on that. You live in Wisconsin and you go up to basically Canada for vacation. Okay. But Tony Ferguson put out a pretty funny training video before the fight, and it's like dropping weights on his legs and shit like that, and so to hear him lose kind of sucks because
bro, this is 8 in a row for Tony.
Yeah, he's OG, but man,
this is 8 in a row. David Goggins couldn't help him out against Pimlet, and now he comes back. He comes back in here again and takes another L. I mean, probably 4 or 5 fights ago. Yeah, there he is getting rear naked choked. I mean, he just don't move the same. I mean, Rogan. I think I pulled up that clip that Rogan put up of him, the diminishing, like his warm up just before, like how he crouches down. He does this little thing where he crouches down. He does these like little wrestling drills that he does, and just the way he moves now compared to the way he moved 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when he was supposed to fight Khabib for the title. If you remember, he was actually going to fight. He was on a holy tear. He had it was probably like 8 the other way. He had like 8 wins in a row. He was supposed to fight Khabib. This is years ago, obviously. He's supposed to fight Khabib. The fight never happened for one reason or another. One time he was wearing sunglasses and tripped on a cord and tore his ACL. I mean, another time it was an injury. It was supposed to happen like 3 times. For whatever reason, the damn thing was jinxed. It never happened. And obviously, Khabib went on to be undefeated and retire. And poor Tony, doesn't know when to call it quits. He's an old, tired rooster. And he only left one glove in the ring when he left. So, and it was to symbolize – He said in the press conference he really doesn't know which way he wants to go, if he wants to actually retire, if he wants to start coaching or managing or doing something.
I think he's going to retire.
Well, obviously, man. He wants to stay in the sport, though. He wants to stay relevant. He wants to stay in the sport.
He should.
I think he'd like to continue fighting, but it just ain't going to happen, man. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen in the UFC either. I don't think Dana's keen on this. I don't think he likes this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he liked it when BJ Penn did this, and I don't think he's liking it now when Tony Ferguson is doing it. Because, I mean, it ain't a good look for the UFC either, having your champions getting starched and choked out and shit left and right over and over and over again. It's not a good look. Not a good look. I mean, it's a young man's game. Definitely a young man's game. Okay. That'll move us on to the main event. The main event. So you know who these guys are. I just gave you the actual promo, the actual poster, the actual UFC poster. I sent you a slide of the poster for Umar Nurmagomedov and Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen challenged for the belt not that long ago. Corey Sandhagen, hell of a fighter, 17-5 record. That's just so you know who these guys are, just so you know who I'm talking about. Umar Nurmagomedov dominated this fight with striking. He was unhappy. Both fighters unhappy with the way this fight played out, even though Umar got a decision. Umar feels like he should have done a better job grappling. Corey Sandhagen feels like he should have been more prepared for the fight, just in general. There was the comments afterwards during the press conferences. 5-round fight. Umar Nurmagomedov got the best of him on the feet. That's pretty much how that one went. Moving on to the juicy, salacious stuff.
Oh,
Olympic boxing.
Yeah.
I got a picture of her as well.
Her? Are you sure?
Well, hey, bro. Men make better women. It's obvious. It's obvious. I mean, it's obvious. She wants to be called she, right?
I put this out on the bar last night. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen Colin Kaepernick in a minute. And there you go. Just saying.
Colin Kaepernick would never salute.
No.
He would never salute. Colin Kaepernick would never salute. Never salute. There's no way.
But I'm hearing all kinds of weird stories about this. In that it was born a female, and then sometime during puberty started getting male hormone, and then it goes down and it goes up and it goes down and it goes up. It's a hormonal imbalance, and
that's a dude. I don't give a fuck when anybody
You're
says
a bigot.
that.
You're a bigot, Minnie.
That's fine. I don't give a shit.
You're a bigot.
That's a dude. When you get punched in the face and you quit because you're like, holy fuck, I've never got hit like that before. Yeah, that's a dude hitting you.
Yeah,
that's recently
made Italian female fighter quit in 45 seconds.
Yeah. But the thing I don't understand, that person's record is 9-5. How the hell did she get beat 5 times?
How did he get beat 5 times? I don't know. Probably because he sucks and pretends to be a woman, identify as a woman, so he can actually win something because he's a terrible actual boxer. And every dude he fights beats the shit out of him. So
okay, so pops, this is like one of the 1%ers or the 1% of the 1%. Yeah. This isn't like somebody that transitioned from being male to female. This person was actually born like intersex, had like both freaking body parts, like a penis and a vagina, or is this what's going on with this person? Because what would they like? Here's the thing. What's that?
That's what they're claiming.
Well, like what would they?
What was born as a female?
Like
it grew up as a female, and then
like
puberty, became a male.
Okay, well, you were around in the 1950s. You were a little kid. And that was before the sexual revolution. That was before all the crazy hippy-dippy nonsense that went on that really changed. It was actually propagated by the CIA, but we won't go into that. We will not go into the way the CIA's torn this country apart. But okay, you were around when gender roles were specific, and things were men were men and women were men, and you're around during that time. What would, back in those days, if this person was born a female, has some female body parts, but what would they do with this person? This person would have to compete as a female, like even in the 1950s.
Yep.
What are you going to do with? Yeah, she's a female. Minnie, I'm on the side. I'm not even like, normally when I'd be doing this, I'd be trolling you. Normally when I'd be doing this, I'd be trolling you and I'd be full of shit. She was born with, what do you do with her? She wants to compete. She was born with female body parts. Her hormones are she's too strong. I mean, what do you do with her? She can't compete with the men, obviously.
No.
What do you do with her? Not allowed to compete?
Nope.
The East German swim team shouldn't have been allowed to compete then. Shit.
Obviously, the entire 80s, every Olympics from post, 1960, East German chicks with the freaking thighs that are no.
So, but this is a person literally that when gender roles were specific and men were men and female were female, right?
Yeah.
This person would be competing as a female. She'd probably be the most prolific, dominant female around, obviously, depending on her hormone levels that day.
By the way, to sidetrack to roll back, but Tony Ferguson retired.
Yeah, but like I said, at the press conference, he left it open. He left one glove in the ring, and he left it open. If you listen to his quotes at the press conference, which was his last words, he kind of left it open. He says, I'm going to talk it over with my wife. He said, words to that effect, I'm going to talk it over with my wife. I think the UFC and Dana White is pushing him towards retirement. That's a fact, Minnie. And yeah, I'm sure they let out a press release that said he was retired. But I'm talking about Tony Ferguson's own words here.
Yeah.
What was said last night. And he says he's leaning towards retirement. He's going to talk to his lady. He's talking about being a manager, a coach, or something like that. And if you are coached by him, you're going to have to meet certain criteria and whatnot. I'm paraphrasing everything he said, but yeah, the guy still wants to compete. He's kind of being pushed out.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to fight for any organization. Dana White's done with this shit show. So yeah, he's probably retiring. He's probably retiring. I don't think he's going to go fight for any other organization. I don't think Dana White wants him to fight. And I think he's going to talk it over with his lady. I think we know what his lady's going to say.
Yeah.
And he might talk it over with his bros. I think we know what his bros are going to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well,
but we also got a Connor clip. I sent you a Connor clip.
What?
Go ahead,
oh
pull
my
that up,
goodness
man.
gracious!
No,
Yeah, we got a
when
Connor
the fuck
clip.
Did you send me a Connor clip?
It's just I think it's the last thing I sent you. It's just a short.
Is that a YouTube video? Is that
Yeah. It's the one right before the Middlesex lady.
Yeah. All right, hold on. God.
Well, this is relevant. We got to talk about this because people took to Twitter, fans in droves, and they had their comments. And I'll hold my comments to myself. You tell me what you think of this clip.
Hold on. I don't even know if I got this right, but fucking, we'll do it. There we go.
3 at the Sturgis Buffalo Chip. Like Sturgis, South Dakota, for Rally Week, baby.
What's more badass than bare knuckle and American rock and roll? Nothing, baby, that's what.
KFC 63.
That's my boy.
All right. That's your boy. Yeah.
So he's going
that
to
guy.
knuckle fighting now.
Well, he owns part of that. He's part owner of that. He owns a lot of it. He's like, I believe he might be even majority shareholder of it. He bought into that. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of back end deal with the UFC. Obviously they'd have to make it legal somehow, but I don't know. Dana's kind of distanced himself from Connor. You don't hear a lot of Connor talk. Whenever Dana opens up his mouth, it's always about how great John Jones is, which just makes me sick to my stomach because that guy used to lampoon Jones back in the day. He used to freaking just nonstop crack jokes about him, DUI, leaving pregnant women and, hit and runs, things like that, all kinds of nonsense like that. But yeah, Dana White, you don't hear him talk much. Connor talk. They're supposed so Connor's supposed to fight in December. Did you see how coked up he was?
I
He looked a little. I think his levels of cocaine in his system were probably consistent with that of Randy Macho Man Savage from the 80s right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm thinking that. I don't think now fans took to Twitter and were just tearing him a new ass, saying how he's never going to fight again. There's no way he's going to fight. This fight's not happening in December, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? You think the fight's going to happen in December? You think he's going to fight Chandler finally? You think that's fight ever going to happen?
How long do you got to stay sober before it disappears from the system?
I don't know. If you're Ryan Garcia, you can be freaking lit all the way up to the point where you're going to be fighting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ryan Garcia is the only guy I ever saw do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see him fight so bad, but Jesus, we've been on this train for almost a year now, and
over here. We've made bets. I even conceded at one point. I go, oh well, it looks like they're going to have it. It looks like there's going to be a promotion. It looks like they're going to fight. And then he breaks his pinky toe or some nonsense, bro.
Yeah.
Like that don't keep a real. That don't keep. But this dude's fought with a torn ACL, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna freaking let a pinky toe getting broken keep you out of a fight, man. Anybody in fighting says you just take anybody. This doesn't come from me. Like, Pook, let's see you break your toe and kick something. Well, I know I'm not a pro fighter. Any pro fighter is says you just wrap it up. You wrap it up and you go in the ring. You tape it up.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. So I guess moving on here, we're going to be having a pay-per-view coming up real soon. We're going to have Adesanya.
Yeah,
Israel Adesanya is going to be fighting Duplessis. And if I can find the full card, I'll pull that up. Let's take a look here. It's going to happen August 17th. That's the next big thing to happen. So we're going to have UFC 305 Duplessis Adesanya. Other notable fights on that card are going to be Cara France is going to be fighting on that card. Dan Hooker will be fighting on that card. Ricardo Ramos is going to be fighting on that card. Alex Reyes is going to be fighting on that card. Not that great a card, but the headliner's hell of a headliner. Hell of a headliner there, where you got Duplessis and you got Israel Adesanya. And I think we looked it up. Did we say that Duplessis is a small favorite, or who's the favorite in that fight? It's Israel Adesanya, but barely. Is that what that was?
I remember we were talking about.
I think we looked that up. We talked about. You were surprised. I remember you were shocked and astounded how Duplessis was going to be was either the favorite or either a real short underdog.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. So it's a coin flip fight. It's a coin flip fight, pretty much. Probably a minus 130, plus 115 nonsense, something like that. Probably one way or the other. So a pretty evenly matched fight. Duplessis being the real African, that's what he's tagging himself at. Israel Adesanya, yeah. Well, he's from South Africa, native, born and raised and trains in Africa. Israel Adesanya abandoned Africa.
Yeah, abandoned.
So that's what Duplessis is like. You're not a real African. I'm a real African. This man fought for China, Israel Adesanya, when he was a kickboxer. He did all kinds of promos for the People's Republic of China, the Chinese communist government, saying how he's Chinese. And so Duplessis is like, hey, I'm the real African. And then Israel Adesanya is kind of turning this into a race thing. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of a dangerous little thing to be doing, but they're doing it. And it's going to happen. And it's going to happen August 17th. So coming up a couple short weeks here, we're going to see that fight. So that pretty much wraps up my coverage of fighting sports and the UFC and whatnot and what have you.
When does that he, she, it fight again?
Very soon, I know that. Very soon, it's gonna be Olympic boxing. They go one after another here.
That fight with the girl from India, or
let's take a look.
Italy.
I don't even really know her name to look her up by her name, but I bet you I could just look it up. Transgender boxer fight next. We'll just ask Google.
Iman Khalif. Imane is the first name, and Khelif is the second name.
I don't know. I typed in exactly what I said. I said transgender boxer fights next, and we got a bunch of like articles about this person, and I don't see anything about a schedule. Very soon, though. I'm sure, because they gotta wrap that all up. She just fought what yesterday was when she made the Italian girl.
Well, that one I think was Thursday when she had the
Thursday.
fight.
Okay, should be maybe we could catch her in action tonight even. Well, I mean, you'll have to get back to me. I'll take a look. I'm gonna change hats real quick. Get a quick soft drink real here, and I'll be right back with you. And I'll look for that. While you guys discuss, auto racing or baseball, college football. I don't know, whatever you guys discuss. Minnie, I can't hear you.
I know, neither can I.
What are you doing?
Go.
Oh, yeah, I'm going.
Hurry up, please. Yeah, I was just trying to do that. Let's take a break. But no, you wouldn't. Yeah. You served me. So thanks for that, Dick.
You got my slides?
No. Where are your slides?
Probably in Gmail, I guess. Where you normally get them when they're sent from Facebook, I guess. I don't know.
No, I don't have them. And I'm at my Gmail and I don't see them.
Hang on, let me find my stuff.
There we go.
You find it?
Sort of, yes. Shit. There we go.
F1. And only because they've been off for weeks and they're going to be off for another couple of weeks. Figured we'd do a wrap up on what the standings are in F1. And it is totally bizarre, to be perfectly honest with you. Max Verstappen is going to win his championship again. He's got 277 points, and I think the next closest person has got 199. So he's way the hell out in front. I mean, he's got 7 wins this year, 9 podiums. He's got the record for the most wins in a season, and there's still 10 races left in their schedule. So he's going to set a new title, I guess is the best way to describe it. Next down on number 2 is Lando Norris. Now, this is the big change in that Lando is a member of the McLaren racing team who's not supposed to have anything. This team has come alive the last 3 years and consistently getting better and better. He's won a race. He's finished on the podium twice so far, and he has 199 points, which makes him second only to Max Verstappen. It's shocking to see. I mean, you would think that the Mercedes would be all over these people and Ferrari would be all over these people. That's the way the order is supposed to be: Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and then whoever else. But now it is Red Bull and now McLaren. Next one. This is the way it's supposed to be. He should be in the top 3. He's in the top 3. He's won a race. He's got 6 podiums. So, I mean, he's always staying up front on 177 points. But that's still 100 points behind the leader. Way too far.
Yeah.
Next. Oscar Piastri. Oh, by God, it's another McLaren driver.
Hey.
So you got Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren. So the McLaren people have got their act together again this year. He's got 167 points. He's still 110 points behind the leader, but now they're doing their job this year, and it's entirely possible with McLaren. They're doing their job in IndyCar too. They're not up top. They've been trying to get up top, but they've been stymied by contracts, and we'll talk about that when we get on with this stuff. Next one in 5th place, another Ferrari. So you got Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull. Oscar Sainz is the next one with 2 race wins, 5 podiums, 162 points. But again, he's 110 or whatever points behind. And I just, there's still 10 races remaining, so there's still plenty of points. But you'd almost have to be Max would have to not be able to even start a race in order to get beat. But it's mathematically possible. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Next slide. There's the guy, the big disappointment. Lewis Hamilton has been absolutely horrendous this year. He's a 7-time world champ and now 2-time. Oh, well, it's really surprising what's going on. So, but he's got 2 race wins, 5 podiums, and 150 points, which puts him 170 some or 120 some odd points behind his nemesis, Max Verstappen. Next one. Sergio Perez. it's hard to believe that I don't know that the Red Bull car is that strong that it keeps him up in in seventh place in the standings. But in theory, he should be in second or third place. So it's surprising to see that he is staying around. You switch sides, but that's okay. Anyway, it's surprising that Red Bull has extended his contract through 2026, so he's got another 2 years to prove his ability to do the racing. Next one. All right, George Russell. This is the kid they brought up from Williams, and the really goofy thing is that Williams car basically mimics the Mercedes cars. I mean, they even have interchangeable parts on them. So, but he's doing relatively well in 8th place. He's got a win, got podiums, but he's relatively young. Now you got to understand, young in terms of racing is kind of strange because young is 18, 19, 20 years old. And he's coming back next year with Mercedes, whereas Lewis is moving to Ferrari. So
right,
we'll have to wait and see what all that comes about. Next one. Fernando Alonso, the old man in the race. He's been around forever. He's still getting points. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And he's getting those points in races where it wasn't expected. He's not. He's in a car that's not a top performer by any means, and he still manages to bring home the points. But following him is his teammate, is Lance Stroll. Yeah. Next slide. There it is, Lance Stroll. I guess the nepotism has its places, and Lance is the son of the benefactors in Aston Martin Racing. He basically is their largest contributor to the racing, and I mean he hasn't got on the podium yet, but he has scored points, and he's done that, and where 10 other people have not scored points. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. They say they're going to bring him back next year. We'll just have to wait and see how that falls out. Like I said, the only real upset so far is that Ferrari is picking up Lewis Hamilton's contract. I think it's a 2 or a 3 year contract. I would expect him to. I would think he would retire after that. God only knows. Next slide shows where the F1 is going, and they've got, like I said, they got 10 more races before the end of the year. The Dutch Grand Prix is 2 weeks away. Then another week they go to the Pirelli Grand Prix. The Qatar, I don't know how you'd say it. Qatar, whatever. Grand Prix. Then Singapore. Then the U.S. Grand Prix, the Mexican Grand Prix, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix, and Heineken back in the States, and that's Las Vegas. Then the Qatar again, Grand Prix, and followed by the Etihad. I don't know how you say that, but it's Etihad. I don't know, but anyway, I'm wondering where the hell these airlines get all their money. I mean, you look at Qatar's got 2 races. I didn't know there was that much money to be made in flying. We just see all of our companies in the United States going broke. But these people got money left over. Next slide is what's going on total And this is pretty remarkable when you think about it. Max Verstappen, who was the youngest driver ever to drive in Formula One, finished with 19 wins last season. The season before that, he had 15 wins. Sebastian Vettel had 13 wins in 2013, and Schumacher had 13 wins in 2004. Lewis Hamilton only had 11 wins in his best year. So there is a significant difference in the quality. Now, again, they're having more races. I think they got 24 races this year. And so that gives them a lot better chance of being on the podium. But it'll be interesting to see what goes on from there. Go to IndyCar. No slides.
Jesus Christ. Done?
Yeah.
All right.
Go to IndyCar. Alex Palou, he's in his 5th year with Chip Ganassi Racing, is leading the points again. This would be his 3rd title in 5 years if he does it. Now think about that record. 3rd title in 5 years of racing. The only thing that could hurt him is if the $30 million lawsuit by the McLaren people have against him for failing to live up to his contract, which he apparently signed 2 years ago, to have him move to the the McLaren team. The big dispute here is that he says it was supposed to be for McLaren F1, not IndyCar F1 or IndyCar, just oval racing.
Gotcha.
And he says they backed away from the Formula One, and so he says, "Well, I got to go back to my agreement with Chip Ganassi, and Chip Ganassi's got me in agreement. I can go to F1, but I can't go to another team in IndyCar." And that's what's keeping him in place. He has come up within the last month a statement that he could move to Formula One with no problems. But any movement within IndyCar, he has to stay with Chip Ganassi through 2025. 2026, he can do whatever he wants to. But it's kind of surprising to see a kid that is that good. And think about that: three championships in 5 years is pretty awesome. I don't know who.
Yeah.
I don't know who else can do it. But now the one thing that's haunting him, I think, and that's Will Power, says, look, he never has won an oval race. He's always won on the road courses. We've got 4 oval races coming up next. We got the Bomarito at St. Louis. They got Milwaukee. It's got 2 races. And then the final race in Nashville. So, you got actually 4 races that are ovals, and he has not proved him to be that good. Now, the opposite of that is that Will Power won his first oval race in 3 years, I guess it is, because he's always won on the road courses too. So the big competition is Chip Ganassi's #1 driver that always wins. They call him the Iceman because he is so cool, in the car. And then so you got Will Power, and the Iceman, and then the man that was supposed to be the second coming of Christ, which was the Red Bull driver, not Red Bull, the I can't remember his name. Herta.
All right.
Ryan Herta's son. He's in 4th place. So you got some good competition coming up in the next month and a half, 2 months from IndyCar. And then we'll have to see what goes on with NASCAR because they're doing all kinds of crazy things, changing the rules on tires and trying to make the races more competitive by changing what tires can be put on a car. They came up with a second set of tires for races where they could actually have a softer tire overall, which would make the cars faster, but it would also make the cars slow down more. So they're trying their best to make it attractive to drivers, but so far there's nothing really been accomplished. And I'll leave it at that.
All righty, boys. I'm going to take my smoke break. I don't know where that leaves us, but Hook, you got something to segue us in before I come back and do a little bit of baseball talk? Because there's not a hell of a lot to talk about, but...
No, me and Pops can talk about that fighter some more.
Yes, please do.
Well, my whole thing is like, what do you do? Like, honestly, Pops, what do you do with this person? Because if what you're saying is that she was born like this, what do you do with a person like that? You don't let them compete? That doesn't seem fair either. I don't know. You shouldn't have biological males competing against biological females. We all can agree on that. I mean, without me, right, trying to get Minnie riled up and joking around, right?
That's sometimes a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's easy to do. It's low hanging fruit, but it's good for the show. It makes good radio. But
yeah, but like you said, I don't know what they can do because I mean that is the gist I'm getting of the conversation is that look, the person was born with female organs.
This is like the argument.
Raised as a girl all of her life, and then in puberty starts having male hormones being generated by her body, and that should make her ineligible to box as a female, but it's not somebody that wanted to change. It's somebody that right. Their body screwed up.
No, this isn't a mental patient, that has gender dysphoria. Right. And that right now in this day and age, 2024, obviously what I just said, you could get in a lot of trouble in a lot of circles for saying what I just said, but you go back as little as maybe 8 years ago, it was in textbooks and psychology courses in college. Gender dysphoria was the actual thing. People that believe they were born in the wrong body or whatever was at one point diagnosis. And now it's like a lifestyle. Now it's become a lifestyle, and it's been promoted. There's no question in my mind it's been promoted. And that's the sad part of it. I think that, mental disorders shouldn't be promoted. I'm a person, I'm a live and let live person. I'm not a person that wants to get in anyone's way of their pursuit of happiness. And if you're a grown ass person, you can do whatever the hell you want. You want to dress like the other gender, you want to act like the other gender, that's on you, but like when it comes to like sports, especially like that college swim, Leela Thomas, right? Especially like the college swim, it's kind of a joke. It's making a mockery of women's sports. It's kind of sad. Yeah. I often make jokes about, especially when Minnie's around, like what if the WNBA got a transgender, LeBron or James or whatever, right? What if it'd be all over. It'd be all over. It'd literally be all over for women's sports. I mean, well, if there's that kind of money in it too, it'd just be a league of transgenders.
Yeah,
you'd have a whole league of guys that decided that they wanted to be a pro athlete more than they wanted to be a man, and they'd be in the NBA if they allowed transgenders tomorrow. There's so many basketball heads out there. There's so many guys that think that they could make the league. Would they actually transition to a female or start the transition to a female in order to get in the WNBA? I think there's a lot of guys that would, Pops. I think there's a lot of guys that would. I mean, it's a cheap way of becoming a pro athlete, I believe, but I think there's a lot of guys that want to become a pro athlete so bad that if the only way would be to transition and join the WNBA, they might do it. Yeah. And I think a lot of decent basketball players would even consider it, for the fortune and the fame and everything that comes with it. And especially if there's no stigma attached to it anymore, why not? Why not transition, become a female athlete? And, you'd be championed by the left in this country.
Yeah. I don't know where this person could compete if we go by the original rules of male hormone. If you got that in your system, you can't compete in female sports. And there's not enough of them to have another whole class. But,
no. Well,
I don't think
maybe now. You know what? Maybe now there is, with all the people that would be perfectly, their bodies would be perfectly fine if they weren't taking hormones to make it different, and they weren't doing surgeries to make it different. There might be a whole. That might be the only answer to have the transgender sports league, but who's going to watch it? That's the thing.
Well,
if you had all transgenders competing against,
how do you make money if no one's watching?
People go to see drag shows all the time. They've been doing that forever. They've been doing that. They did that back in the 1950s. There was a little place for that, right? Yeah. There's a little spot for that. The one side of town, the one place would have like a drag show or whatever, right? It was all fun and games, and It was serious, probably a little bit more serious than fun and games for the people competing in that kind of stuff, or doing that kind of stuff. If it wasn't a competition, if it was just like a song and dance or whatever, it's always existed. That's always existed. It's just the promotion of it and the young people getting involved in the irreversible things that go on during a transition, like, halting people's puberty and, actually, putting them under the knife. And, once you split your penis like a banana peel, it's over with, man.
Yeah.
It's over with. You make that decision at that young of age.
All right.
Well, the surprising thing is we all think fairly highly of Elon Musk, and apparently his son was given drugs to transition him. And Elon has come back out and said it was wrong. It shouldn't have happened, but I was stupid at that time. So you got a fairly intelligent human being just going according to the doctor's suggestion, and he says, I lost my son by that. So,
well, everyone has that. And we're born with a little bit of that, and then it's reiterated throughout our life. COVID woke me up, though. COVID really woke me up. That I don't need to be listening to experts about everything, and experts are full of shit.
Well,
you go to a medical professional, somebody in a lab coat. It doesn't matter if you got 180 IQ. This guy knows more about medicine than you do. You better listen to him. And the smarter you are, the more you actually don't know, right? The more of a I don't know everything about everything. If you're Elon Musk, you don't know everything about everything, because you've done a deep dive into a lot of things, and you don't know everything about everything. So of course you're gonna, on first glance, you're gonna trust the experts, the people in the lab coat, the people with the medical degrees to do the right thing, right? So I don't blame Elon a bit for what happened to his son. Never could have happened to my son, but I don't trust experts. Well, it could happen to him after he's 18, obviously. Yeah. Or the school could. I was in Commie, California.
Go ahead.
I was in Commie, California for a long time. They could have kept it under wraps that he was transgender or whatever, and he could have transitioned. By the way, he's graduating boot camp next week, so I don't think he's a transgender. But I'm just using an example. Like they couldn't have got me, but I'm a little thick-headed when it comes to that.
Let's do a little bit of let's do a little bit of baseball talk. A little bit. We had the trade deadline coming past. No big blockbuster deals, unfortunately, and I think that's kind of I go back to the expanded playoffs because everybody thinks they're in until they're not, and so no big blockbuster moves. A lot of bit players. A lot of what I would say like. I don't know, like B and C level players being traded. A lot of bit players being moved around, relievers going up. I'll tell you what though, San Diego did make a move to wrap up another closer. They got him from Kansas City. Had a rough kind of year this year, but if you look at the back of his baseball card, he's a pretty solid dude. So once again, San Diego, the Padres are the scariest. In my opinion, wild card team out there. I mean, this is a team. What?
Real quick. I'm at the bar Tuesday night. San Diego game's on. They're getting shelled.
Yeah,
they're getting 5-0. I go on my app. I look real quick. They're giving them 10-1. I'm listening to Minnie's commentary on baseball. I know it's bombs away with frickin' San Diego. I sent in a bet on that. I hit them 10-1 the other night when they were down 5 runs against the Dodgers. Real quick, just to interject about San Diego. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they're scary, man. They are scary as hell. They are loaded offensive wise. They're still waiting to get like Yu Darvish back and whatnot, but they got Dylan Cease is throwing like a hoss that he is, and that bullpen is scary as shit. So they get in. They can mess some people up for sure. Go to the standings real quick though. I know I blew past the trade deadline. There really wasn't not much to talk about. Like I kind of said earlier, it just was kind of lackluster. A lot of bit players going on. But to the standings in the American League East, we have a race, ladies and gentlemen. The Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees are tied. This is good. Baltimore Orioles just called up Jackson Holiday for the second time this year, and he responded with a home run. So looking good for them. But the Orioles and Yankees, it's good. Red Sox hanging in there, man. They're still in almost in a playoff spot. Believe it or not, they're 59 and 51. Which is almost on par with the AL West Seattle Mariners. But so Red Sox fans hang in there. But Rays are out. Blue Jays are way gone. I don't even know why the Blue Jays didn't do as much movement as everybody expected them to. With Bichette maybe moving, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. maybe moving, but they didn't do anything. So maybe winter meetings will be the Blue Jays' time to shine. I don't know. And the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians up on the Twins, 4.5 games. Guardians didn't do much. Twins didn't do much either. And the Royals are hanging in there right there at 63 and 50, 5 games back. It's kind of neat to see the Royals competing and being relevant again. I like that. To the AL West, Seattle Mariners, who still can't hit fucking anything. One of the most lackluster offense in baseball. But they're still one game up on the Houston Astros, who are getting healthier by the day. Texas Rangers back there 5.5 games. Los Angeles Angels 9.5, and the soon-to-be Sacramento Athletics, aka Oakland Athletics, 13 games back. Surprising move on that with the Athletics. Outfielder Brett Rooker didn't get moved, and a lot of people thought that he was going to be a big piece for the Oakland Athletics to move, and it didn't happen. So Oakland Athletics keeping it tight. Usually every year at the trade deadline, you can guarantee the Athletics are going to trade away some people, and they didn't do fuck all this year. Didn't help that Mason Miller broke his finger on the athletic trader's table. Still trying to figure out how that actually happened, but whatever. But Mason Miller was another big trade piece. The gigantic closer who throws like 104 miles an hour didn't get moved, of course, because he was injured. So that helps, or that hurts that prospect. To the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies still going strong, man. They've got the NL East pretty much wrapped up at this point, short of a absolute collapse. They're getting healthier. And I just don't see the Atlanta Braves, who just keep losing people by the week, catching them up. But the Braves will be in the playoffs. They'll probably be one and done, which is kind of their thing. It's even the Atlanta Braves in the 90s, that was their thing. It was get to the playoffs, lose, get to the playoffs, lose. The Mets trying to hang in there, still above 500, but they're 8 games back. The Nationals and Marlins are just absolutely atrocious. Oh, one note I wanted to Chris Benoit sent me. The White Sox have officially lost 20 games in a row.
Wow.
20 in a row.
See, that would almost rank in the George Webb category.
That's okay. All right. Now here's where my gambling expertise comes in. If you would have caught this run, right? If you would have caught this run early, even though the White Sox probably in a lot of these you'd have to lay a lot, but some of them were close to even money, right? You'd have to lay a lot in a lot of these. If you were to start out like a $10 bet, then took all your winnings, parlayed them to the next match, to the next game, parlayed them again, parlayed them. You'd probably be in the 100,000s right now off of like a $20 bet, $10 bet. You at least you would be, if you would have hit this run and just bet against the White Sox 20 times in a row, use the same money over and over again, you wouldn't be doubling up, obviously, because it wouldn't be 20, 40, 80. It wouldn't be like that. But it would have been like starting a little rubber band ball and then like a snowball. It would have snowballed. You would have had a chunk of money at the end of this if you get off at the right time. If they continue to lose, man. Wow. What we got to do is we got to wait for them to win again, and then we got to run that play all over again.
Right.
Because they've already lost 20 in a row. They're going to win a game here. They have to, right? It's Major League Sports, right?
You would think
Eventually
so, yeah.
They're going to win a game. Are they going to close out the rest of the season losing every game? That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to take – I don't want to take the other strategy. I don't want to start betting the Red Sox thinking that, all of a sudden black's going to come up on the roulette wheel after the tree's full of red. It's been freaking red for 20 spins. I don't necessarily want to bet on – I don't want to bet on them or against them at this point, 20 in a row. That's a lot of momentum. That's a lot of momentum one way.
Imagine being in that clubhouse, though. I mean, that's got to be rough, right? Like, I mean, how many we lost in a row? It's 20, bro. 20. We lost 20 games in a row. That's how bad we are. Fuck. We're professionals, right? Yeah. But we're that bad. And Jerry Reinsdorf is an old, senile douche canoe who needs to sell both the Bulls and the White Sox. But anyways, yeah, glad. Thank you very much to Chris Benoit for sending me that.
If AI was to draw a douche canoe, what would it look like?
Jerry Reinsdorf.
Okay, just asking.
Just saying. To the NL Central, the Brewers still hanging in there, man. Still atop the NL Central, which nobody seems to want to do really much with. They're 4-6 in their last 10. St. Louis Cardinals are still in there. They made some deals at the trade deadline, but again, mostly bit players. They're 5 games back. The Pittsburgh Pirates raise it. The Pittsburgh Pirates, raise Jolly Roger. They're 6 games back behind Paul Skeens, who is, of course, the new MLB power couple with Livy Dunn. Paul Skeens is appointment television for sure. If you follow MLB and follow Paul Skeens, I'm telling you, every time he pitches, I'm tuning in at least a little bit. Also, he's on my fantasy baseball team, so I had to pay attention to him for that. But nobody else picked him up, and I did before he was even a thing. So. But he is awesome. I mean, the guy throws 100+ miles an hour. He's almost got 2 no-hitters in his first year in MLB. He's just amazing. So definitely keep an eye on him.
How old is he now?
Oh, shit. 23?
Yeah.
I think. Hold on. Let me look at his baseball reference page. I'm sure it'll come up. Yep. Paul, come on, Skis. There we go. Let's see. 24. He is. Shit. Doesn't say. Does say he's 6'6", 235 pounds. He's got a 1.90 ERA in 80 innings pitched. Yes. Yes. Oh, my God. Like, I didn't know how crazy that 103 strikeouts in 80 innings pitched. So oh my God, he's better than I thought he was. What's
his record now?
He's 6-1.
Yeah.
6-1, 13 games started, with a 1.90 ERA.
That's unreal.
Jesus. Unbelievable. God damn. It's a generational talent we're watching, I'm telling you. To the NL West to wrap up the standings. The Dodgers still hanging in there, man, but the Padres nipping at the heels. Padres 8-2 in their last 10. They're only 4.5 games back from the Dodgers.
Can you imagine Dodger management saying, if Ohtani could just pitch, he'd be a good ball.
Well, he will next year at some point, but probably only like midway through. Like probably All-Star break next year is when you'll see Ohtani pitch again. But
he's what 33 home runs and 30 stolen bases now.
Yeah, he's a member of the 30-30 club, which is awesome.
Outrageous.
Yeah, his WAR. Look, this is crazy. He is in the running for NL MVP, which he's won it in the AL. But to come on, Shohei, come on, do it. Baseball reference. Let's see if I can get it. Honey, there we go. Search. Come on, do it. Nope. All right. Guess it doesn't like me. Shit. There we go. Now I found it. All right. So this year, Shohei in 424 at bats, has 131 hits, 33 home runs. He's batting .309, 79 RBIs, 31 stolen bases. He's got an on-base percentage of 400, slugging percentage of 627 with an OPS of 1.027 and OPS plus of 187. He might be the first DH in MLB history to win the MVP. People are already talking about it, that he's going to win the MVP. And that's never been done by a DH in AL or NL. Never been done. So, I mean, he's got a WAR that's 6. So, it means he'll win you 6 games above the MLB average player. So, that's absolutely insane. But the Padres, like I said, again, nipping at the heels, man. They're right there, and they're hot as shit. And they did make a couple moves to bolster that bullpen, to bolster that rotation. And, hey, we'll see. Arizona Diamondbacks quietly still in the race, man. I mean, they're 60-52, which puts them ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals as far as a wild card spot. Puts them ahead of the Braves for a wild card spot, which is insane. Blake Snell, San Francisco Giants. Speaking of the San Francisco Giants, Blake Snell, who was the blockbuster trade everybody was thinking about. Who is he going to go to the Yankees? He's going to go to the Red Sox. He's going to go to Baltimore. He didn't go fucking anywhere. And then he promptly threw a fucking no-hitter. I mean, fucking Jesus. And this guy does this every year. If you look at his ERA from the start of the season to the All-Star break, it's shit. I think it's around, just I'm paraphrasing a little bit and kind of moving through shit real quick, but it's about a 4.5 ERA. After the trade deadline, after the All-Star break, it's less than 2.
Yeah.
The guy just goes crazy after the All-Star break, and he has done it throughout his career. Flip the baseball card. If you split it, you see it every year. He does this shit. It's amazing. I don't know why. Don't know what it is, but that's Blake Snell for you. And for some odd and unknown reason, the Giants held on to him. I would have moved that dude like it was going on a style because, but maybe not a lot of takers. And to wrap up the standings, the Colorado Rockies are 41-72, and at least they can hang their hat that they're not as bad as the Chicago White Sox. But yeah, other than that, not a hell of a lot to really talk about. We're getting to the dog days of summer. It's August. It's when the clubhouses get real fun because everybody's sick of each other. You see who the real teams are, the real contenders really are in the next couple of weeks. Who can survive the dog days of summer, and whose starters can hang in there and keep pump innings out. Other than that, that's all I got for baseball. Pook, Pops, final thoughts, and let's call it a day, and we'll see you guys next week. What do you got? What do you got, Pook?
Well, the Olympic boxer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the Olympic boxer, Amain Khalif.
Mm-hmm.
I support her, and I'm going to tell you why I support. I support. As Pops reported, she was born female. What do you do with this person? This person's like a modern day Joan of Arc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of sucks for like people like you that really hate transgenders and are bigots, because like this is like the 1% of the 1% that kind of proves their point. Some people are born like this, and this is just how it is. What do you do with this person? Where does she compete? Well, she was born with female parts. She's a freak. She's a freak. The same way Brock Lesnar's a freak, right? So
Squirrel.
Is it fair that Brock Lesnar's able to compete against regular males because he's a freak? He's obviously his hormone levels have to be through the roof naturally. You see how monstrous the guy is, man. His hands are like the size of lunch pails. When Joe Rogan said he shook his hand, it was like shaking hands with a lunchbox, like one of those big lunch boxes. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you have freaks out there. This person's a freak. This person's a natural freak. As long as this person, yeah. Well, you can call him whatever you want, George Pardos, but
oh my God.
I'll call her a modern day Joan of Arc. She's a champion of transgenders, even though she's really not a real transgender. She was born a female, and as long as she's not using any drugs, she should be allowed to compete against people that her gender.
Moving on.
Maybe they could come up with a classification like they do in the handicap. So, you have the handicap Olympics, and you could have the strange Olympics. Classification.
The transgender Olympics.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Moving on. Final thoughts. Wrap it up. Let's go.
Those are my final thoughts, Minnie.
All right.
As a matter of fact, as I was discussing with Pops, they ought to let the transgenders into the WNBA and revolutionize the sports.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be able to dunk like no one else can now. So cool.
Man, they rim rocking above the rim, baby. Transgender play.
Labrita James.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay.
He could extend his career another 20 years.
Oh yeah, for sure he could. Yeah. And let's not do
the
that.
Problem is that they can't afford him. If he would go through the change, they can't afford to pay him. That's what's so bizarre about this whole deal. I think the Olympics were a joke when they started off with their Last Supper video. That's ridiculous, and it's telling you where the Olympic sports is going, because that's what they want to promote. So. Get ready for it, because those people are still around and they are in power. No ifs, ands, or buts. I surrender.
All right, me too. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. Make sure you share the show out. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. Love you all. See you next week.
And now for something completely different.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.